Every town has its legends, its haunted places, and dark secrets. In the quiet village of St. Marie, there was one story that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who heard it, the story of the haunted convent and the vengeful nun. The legend went that many years ago, in the mid-1800s, a nun named Sister Beatrice lived in the old convent at the edge of town. She was deeply devoted to her faith, admired by all, but there were rumors that something dark lay beneath her pure and holy exterior. They said Sister Beatrice was in love with a man from the village. Forbidden love, especially for someone who had devoted her life to God, but as the rumors spread, so did the gossip that something had gone horribly wrong. Late one night, during a storm so fierce that it seemed the heavens themselves were at war, Sister Beatrice vanished. Some said she fled with her lover. Others believed something much darker had happened within the convent walls, for the next morning, the church was closed, sealed off without explanation. No one saw Sister Beatrice again, or so they thought. Years passed, but the memory of the missing nun lingered like a dark cloud over the town. People whispered about strange occurrences, sightings of a shadowy figure, dressed in the traditional nun's habit, seen wandering the grounds of the old convent at night. Most dismissed these stories as tales for children, warnings to keep them from wandering too close to the crumbling building. But not everyone believed it was just a story. The years continued to creep forward like an unrelenting tide, and yet no one dared enter the convent until one fateful day. It was a group of five, a group of adventurous souls with a taste for the paranormal. They called themselves the Night Explorers, and they thrived on uncovering haunted places and documenting their findings for the world to see. However, none of their previous experiences would prepare them for what they were about to face inside the walls of St. Marie's convent. On a cold November night, just before the winter chill set in, the group arrived at the convent, their flashlights cutting through the thick fog that surrounded the forgotten grounds. The air was heavy, oppressive even, as if the building itself didn't want them there. They pushed through the rusted gates, their footsteps echoing against the stone as they moved closer. The leader of the group, Tom, was the first to speak. You feel that he whispered, his breath visible in the cold air. "It's colder than it should be." The others nodded in agreement. There was a chill, but not the kind the weather brings. It was deeper, more primal. As though they were being watched, they made their way to the entrance, and as they pushed the heavy wooden door open, a loud creak echoed through the convent. Dust filled the air, swirling in the beams of their flashlights. The walls were lined with old portraits of nuns, their solemn faces watching as the group passed by. The Night Explorers split into pairs, each taking a different wing of the convent to cover more ground. As they wandered deeper into the building, strange things began to happen. First, there were the noises, footsteps that followed them, but when they turned, there was no one there. Then, the whispers, faint and unintelligible at first, grew louder, until it felt like someone was breathing right behind them. They were unnerved, but they pushed on, determined to uncover the mystery of Sister Beatrice. And then, they found the room. It was an old chapel at the heart of the convent, untouched for decades. There, standing before the altar, was a statue of the Virgin Mary, her face cracked and weathered with time. But something was wrong. As they approached, they realized the statue was weeping tears of blood. The group stood frozen, unable to comprehend what they were seeing. And then, without warning, the temperature dropped even further. Their breath fogged the air, and a deep, guttural sound echoed through the room. Slowly, they turned toward the source of the noise. And that's when they saw her, a figure in a tattered nun's habit, standing in the corner of the room. Her face was hidden beneath her hood, but they could feel her gaze burning into them. Tom called out, "Who are you?" But there was no answer. The figure began to move toward them, slowly at first, but then, with unnatural speed, she lunged. The group scattered, running in every direction. The doors slammed shut, trapping them inside. As they fumbled for their equipment, trying to capture what was happening, the figure spoke. Her voice was low, almost a growl. "This is my home. You will never leave." Suddenly, one of the explorers, Sarah, screamed. She pointed to the ground where the shadow of the nun stretched unnaturally long, creeping toward her. She tried to run, but it was too late. The shadow wrapped around her feet, dragging her to the floor as she screamed for help. The others tried to pull her free, but the force was too strong. One by one, the group was overpowered by the vengeful spirit. Tom, in a last desperate attempt, shouted at the figure, "What do you want?" The nun's face finally became visible. Her eyes were hollow, and her mouth twisted into a sickening smile. "I want peace," she hissed, "but there will be none for you." In their final moments, as the doors burst open and the cold wind filled the chapel, the group realized too late that they had been lured into a trap, a death trap that had claimed many before them. The town of St. Marie still tells the tale of the nun, the one who never found peace in life, and now punishes those who dare disturb her in death. To this day, no one dares enter the convent at night, for fear they too will never leave. So if you ever find yourself in St. Marie, and you hear the whispers of the haunted convent, remember, some places are best left undisturbed. Thanks for watching this chilling story about the nun. If you enjoyed it, and want to hear more terrifying tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. And if you have your own ghost stories, share them in the comments. Until next time, stay safe and beware the shadows.